This tutorial is a continuation of setting up a jQuery lightbox plugin, and so far we've customized it, taken out some things, changed a little bit of the sizing. With this particular plugin, I'm pretty sure you could go ahead and make your thumbnails any size you want, change this gap, have as many in the across the rows you want. You could have rectangle thumbnails next to square thumbnails. But what I would say about your thumbnails, unless you're going to set up a really complicated grid, to make your life easier, I would at least have them all be the same height. And then maybe you have squares and rectangles sitting next to each other with a narrow gap. These are just floated divs, that's all they are, and they're in a container div. And in this case, we have the exact same size thumbnail, and 4 across and 4 across. And you could have more rows than just these 2 rows. I am not going to change the size of the thumbnail, but I do have a bunch of images that I pulled from iStock Photo. That's one of them. I just searched for Dia de los Muertos, and I just pulled a bunch off of what came up in the search. So I would like to size them all the size that these thumbnails are. And that size is when you put your mouse over them in with a Firebug plugin activated, you can see which size it is, and it is 140 wide by 120 tall. And since we're talking about the web, we are talking about 72 dots per inch. So here I have a document set up with 140 width, 120 high, 72 dots per inch, and all of my images have to end up being that size. So let me just check here and make sure untitled 1 is incorrect. I believe it's untitled 2 that we want. 140, 120, good. So all I'm going to do is go to each image, Command A or Control A, Command C or Control C, go to my little template here and paste Command V, and then I can decide how much of this image do I want in this thumbnail. So I could size it by just using my transform tool. I could size it to get as much in there as I wanted or as little as I wanted, and then once I have it the way I want, what I want to do is note what the name of the photo is. So this is stock photo 217455453, and I want to name my files something similar to that. So let me go out here. So this is 2174553, and that one is right there. So I'm going to go ahead and take this full name and go over to our untitled document here, File Save for Web and Devices, and save this out as a JPEG. And then paste the name in there, but what I'm going to do is, before the rest of the file name, your file names normally aren't going to be this long, but I'm just going to put thumb in front of it so I know that's my thumbnail. So that one's done. I'll do one more on filming this here. So Command A, Command C, go over to my little template, paste, and decide what goes in there. And then I need to know the name of this one. This one is 602. So here's 602, copy it and close that. File save for web and devices. Paste in and thumb before the file name, and then I'll just do the rest of these. Okay, so we should have now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, we're missing one. So I thought I closed one out while I was doing this. And we can see here, there's that thumbnail, there's this thumbnail, there's that one. Yeah, this is the one I didn't do. Oh, I remember that. So this is 5, 7, 8. Okay, I'll do one more here. We know it ends in 578, so we can go right there and just click on that file name, really get to the beginning. And now we should have matches for everybody. That matches that, that, and that. Okay, I think we are in fine shape. Okay. So the next thing to do is to replace all these thumbnails. And what you want to do is get things organized before you start inserting images into your file. And this might be a point where you might want to bring it into your actual document, because now that we're going to start getting images connected, it might be a good time to do that. So what you'll need to do is to figure out, all right, first of all, where is your site folder? Well, in my case, my site folder is right here. Okay. And my files for my lightbox are over in this lightbox folder. So I'm going to copy and paste my CSS folder. If I already had a CSS folder over here, like lots of scripts, whatever, I would go inside and select those two folders and put them in the CSS folder if one was already in my root. I don't need the finished files. I have an images folder already. And it doesn't hurt anything to just go ahead and take everything over there that's in this images folder. I realize we won't need some of those and you could go and clean it up later, but it's nice when you're moving over these files that everything looks right when you first get your gallery into your HTML file. So we've moved over CSS, we've moved over images. We have not moved over JS, so we're going to copy JS and paste it over here. Okay. The last thing we're going to do is take this lightbox modified file and paste it over here. Now, when I go to my site folder, I should see that my CSS has come over. My images, oh, of course we forgot the images. We want to move into the page. My images are here, the ones I moved over so far. My script is there, or I'm sorry, my JS files are there, and then my lightbox modified is there. But yeah, I totally spaced bringing over our new images, so why don't I take care of that right now? Since I have thumbnail images and I have large images, it's kind of nice, especially if you have a lot of gallery files, to go ahead and organize within your images folder. So we already have a folder set up for thumbs. So let's go ahead and take all these thumbs, copy, and paste them into the thumbs folder. Then let's take another folder and name it whatever makes sense to you. Large gallery images. You might go so far inside there to organize further, like a folder called illustrations, whatever, but at least, or name them that way. Always start with illustration, or so you can kind of keep them, like here, uh, all the thumbs are in and I can find them quite easily. So here we have large gallery images. So I'm going to click inside there and take my large gallery images, copy, and paste. Okay, so that's all there is to the first migration step. The next migration step is I'm going to open up this Lightbox modified, make sure everything behaves itself still, and it does. Okay. And oh, let me make sure I was looking at the right one. I think I was. Okay. Nope, I'm not there. I was a moment ago. Yep, site files. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is take my images, my thumbnail images, and connect them. So this is 177, well, it ends in 813, so that's my source. And then it links to the large gallery image. Whoa, what's going on in here? There we go. That ends in 813. So it links to the 813, it shows the little 813. So now this one, butterfly, is going to go away, and we have this one that ends in 721. 721, it's going to link to 721. 624 is the source. 624 is what it links to. And I'll continue this process. I'll pause for a moment. Okay, so I have them all linked now, and something to note, I'm just seeing here in my, because I didn't, when I was modifying the theme and its appearance and, like the gaps and the size of everything, I wasn't being super careful with my measurements, but you see here that we have a little, Dreamweaver's trying to tell you, hey, there's an overlap. So what I want to do now is to fix that little overlap. It's just set to a height of 40, and I'm going to take down that height just a tiny bit to 35 and see if that works. Oh goodness, look what I did. Maybe even 38. And that's too much. So normally I would be measuring everything and be really precise, but since I noticed it, there we go. Because you don't want to end up resizing and have boxes overlapping boxes. That's how you end up with browser compatibility issues. And this may still be too close, like this may technically be overlapping by 1 pixel. I would measure everything and test everything, give everything background colors, and make sure I was dead on before calling this good for real. Anyway, we're going to test this now. So we'll go over here to our document, make sure we're actually in the right folder, our site, our root folder, and refresh. Now we'll make sure this each one works, because you might have linked to the wrong one. So setting up galleries manually, if you're not using an automated process, does take time. So you just check these. Okay, then I'll check and make sure that they go back and forth, like that function is working, and close. Looking good. Now, all I need to do to change the title of these is simply to come in here and select and type in a new title. That's very straightforward, so I'm not going to demonstrate that. Alright, so how do we get this into, like, now we still have our demo page that we've been building. We know everything is as solid as it can be. How do we get this actually into our site? And I think I have a few pages here that were demoed based off of our template. Let me just see what kind of template I have here. And okay, our template is not going to work. This is from previous lecture. Hold on a minute. Okay, so we have a layout, we have a template now that should play better for the space that we need for this 700 pixel wide layout. So if I base a page off of this template, I should be able to put a gallery over on the right hand side. But first I have to bring in the code that makes the gallery work. So if I go up to here and I take my special CSS just for the gallery, and I take the jQuery CSS that makes some of the functionality happen, then I have this JavaScript file, and then I have another JavaScript file, which is the jQuery framework, and then I have the script that gets embedded into the page itself. So I'm going over to my DWT file, and I'm going to put them in, and I'm going to do this in a non-editable area. So we see that I've already got some sort of script in here, so let's just have a look here. Okay, so we have this jQuery script, probably for something else that I was experimenting with, so we're going to pretend like we never saw that, and we're just going to go ahead and put what we need in right now. So normally you wouldn't already have a jQuery script sitting there. But here's the problem with what I just did. This is for a Dreamweaver template. The Dreamweaver template is nested inside of the Dreamweaver folder. This lightbox modified is outside of that folder. It's out here. So these relationships are not correct. The CSS lightbox. But look, I'm clicking on where, the file, and then down here the href, it's saying, well, okay, this is what I have for an href. So if I want to correct these, here's what you can do. You can open up the CSS, and you do want to correct them. Well, I guess you don't have a point to file. Okay, so I click on the folder, and this one is for lightbox CSS, so I'm going to click that. And, oh, hold on. I am too far out of things. Just a second. Let's save all for a minute. And then, okay, so we're going to try to get it to understand where we need to go. So let's make sure we're in the right place. So my site files, and then CSS inside of my site files, which is inside of my root folder. And this is for Lightbox. Now just watch what happens here. Once you see one of them, you really don't need to go through it. You can just change the syntax if you like, but I just want you to see how it needs to be in the template. So if I click OK, you see what happened here is it's basically saying go up a level, so this file is inside of the templates folder. It's saying go up a level, so out here on my root, and then go back into a folder named CSS and get this CSS file. That's how it needs to be inside of the template. So we can just change that because that's correct for that one. And then over here, the JavaScript file is the exact same way. So we'll do that and that. So those should be correct now. And the script that we have does not relate to any file, so we should be okay there. So let's go ahead and the old about and index, that's from a previous lecture, so I'll go ahead and delete those. Yes, go away. Oh, I now know what that's all about. Okay, I just realized what that old script is about. Okay, so here we go. We're going to do a new file based off of the template. Page from template, Art 190, here's my layout, create. Now if we look at the code in here, way up at the top, we need to save first. Save. Make sure we're in site files, and we'll call this index now. And we're going to overwrite what we already have there. And when we look, we should see now in the template, you'll see that there's a // before the CSS because that DWT file is way in here. But now that we have saved out index and it is in the root, it just needs to go down into the CSS file, and Dreamweaver is smart enough to know that, so it changes it for you. So in here I have I don't have an editable area apparently. Hold on. It would really help if I had that. Okay. And we'll go ahead and make this editable, and then I will finish this video in another section. So I'll make an editable region, just call it main area. Okay. And then we'll record one more video to get the galleries in here.